The glitz and glamour of Hollywood have always been known to attract all kinds of stars, both on and off the screen. But one evening in Los Angeles, something truly unexpected unfolded at an exclusive event that would soon capture the attention of millions. This wasn't your average celebrity gossip or tabloid scandal. It was a moment that would change the conversation around a prominent figure, and it came from none other than Barron Trump. The event, a high-profile gala attended by the biggest names in entertainment, had already started off with the usual cocktail chatter. Guests mingled in the lavish ballroom, the buzz of conversation mixing with the clinking of champagne glasses. The glittering chandeliers above cast a soft glow on the room, but the real spotlight was on Barron, who had come as a guest of honor to represent his family. He was no longer the shy teenager often kept out of the media's spotlight. As the son of President Donald Trump, Barron had grown into a poised young man, dressed in a tailored dark blue jacket and a crisp white shirt, his tall frame exuding confidence despite the whispers from the crowd. Everything was going smoothly until an unexpected altercation made its way to the spotlight. As Barron stood by a grand silk-draped table, casually chatting with a few familiar faces, a familiar Hollywood A-lister, Ryan Collins sauntered over. Collins was known for his controversial opinions and outspoken behavior, traits that had often earned him a reputation for stirring up trouble. That night, it seemed, he had a new target in mind. "Good evening, Barron," Ryan said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I've been meaning to ask you something. How does it feel to be the son of a man who's done more damage to this country than any president before him?" The words hung in the air, thick and cutting. Barron's smile faltered for a moment, but he quickly composed himself. The room seemed to grow quieter, the tension palpable as eyes darted from Ryan to Barron. Ryan, sensing the opportunity to make a point, pushed further. "Seriously, what do you think about your father's legacy? Is that something you're proud of? Or are you just here, riding the coattails of his name, pretending like everything's fine?" The crowd was now watching intently, and the once ambient chatter had faded into hushed murmurs. Barron remained calm, his gaze fixed on Ryan. There was no hint of anger in his eyes, only a quiet resolve that seemed to take everyone by surprise. Ryan laughed as if he had struck a chord, but Barron's response would soon change the entire atmosphere of the room. "I don't think you understand what it means to be part of a family like mine," Barron said, his voice steady but firm. "It's not about riding anyone's coattails, it's about standing up for what you believe in, even when everyone is quick to judge. My father has done a lot of things, some good, some controversial, but he's always stood by his convictions. And that's something you could learn from." Ryan's face twitched, his confident demeanor starting to crack. He wasn't used to being spoken to like this, especially not by someone like Barron, who had always been in the shadows, far removed from the public's harsh scrutiny. Barron continued, "You can criticize him all you want, but you're forgetting something important. My father was elected by millions of people, not by the people in this room, and certainly not by people like you who think they have all the answers." The room went silent, as if everyone had taken a collective breath. Ryan opened his mouth to respond, but Barron was far from finished. "Instead of focusing on tearing others down, why don't you focus on something that actually matters? Use your platform to inspire, to build, to make people better. Because right now you're doing nothing but dividing." There was a brief pause before Ryan, still taken aback, finally spoke. "You really think you can change anything, Barron? You think standing here and saying a few nice words will suddenly make people respect your father?" Barron's reply was cool but filled with conviction. "Respect is earned, not demanded. And if you're looking for respect, maybe start by showing it to others instead of hiding behind cheap shots and insults." The entire room stood frozen, unsure how to react. The man who had been the target of so many public critiques was now the one delivering a lesson in respect and dignity. Barron had gone from being the quiet son of a controversial figure to someone who was capable of commanding attention and respect on his own terms. Ryan, realizing he couldn't win this exchange, cleared his throat awkwardly and muttered, "Well, I didn't expect that." With a small nod, Barron walked away, leaving Ryan and the onlookers in stunned silence. In the aftermath of the event, the video footage of the confrontation went viral within hours, spreading across social media platforms, news websites, and entertainment outlets. It was everywhere, on TV screens, in articles, and plastered across social media feeds. The stunning moment was dissected from every angle, analyzed by pundits, influencers, and journalists alike. News outlets, both mainstream and independent, scrutinized every word Barron had spoken, comparing his composed, powerful response to Ryan Collins' awkward and uncomfortable retreat. The contrast between the two men was striking. Barron, with his calm, steady demeanor and measured words, was a far cry from the usual spectacle of heated celebrity drama that so often dominates the media. In fact, Barron's response became a defining moment, not just for the public perception of him, but for his own personal narrative. He was no longer just the quiet son of a president, lingering in the shadows of his father's legacy. He had emerged as a young man capable of standing his ground, challenging the status quo, and speaking truth to power in a manner that commanded respect. Social media erupted with mixed reactions, but one thing was clear. Barron had left a lasting impression. Memes, quotes, and hashtags such as number Barron speaks and number silence speaks began trending, with people praising his poise and articulating thoughts on how he had taken control of the conversation. News outlets debated the bigger picture, focusing not just on the words exchanged between Barron and Ryan, but on the broader implications of what had happened. Was this a sign of Barron taking ownership of his identity, regardless of the public's views on his father? Was it a demonstration of maturity and wisdom that transcended his family's political ties? As analysts and commentators weighed in on the exchange, many were struck by the maturity Barron exhibited. His words were simple but powerful, delivering a subtle yet pointed critique of Ryan's approach to public engagement. In a society where so many voices shout to be heard, Barron had made it clear that thoughtful, dignified responses could be just as impactful, if not more so than the loudest, most aggressive ones. Barron had faced a double-edged sword that evening. On one hand, the criticism of his father and his family's legacy was something he had likely heard many times before. But on the other, it was deeply personal. It wasn't just about defending his father's actions. It was about defending his own place in a world where his every move was scrutinized, where every statement he made would be twisted and analyzed to the nth degree. Instead of retreating into silence or reacting with the anger that many expected from him, Barron chose to respond with grace, wisdom, and emotional intelligence. It was a response that left everyone in the room and millions watching with a sense of awe. His words reminded the room and the millions of viewers watching across the globe that there is a better way to handle criticism than to engage in petty arguments. Far too often, public figures, celebrities, and political figures succumb to the temptation to retaliate with insults or outbursts. But Barron demonstrated that sometimes the most powerful response is the one that upholds your values and your integrity, all while staying true to who you are. His approach wasn't about throwing punches or winning the argument. It was about rising above the fray and making a stand for the kind of person you choose to be. This moment became more than just a viral video. It became a cultural turning point. People from all walks of life, including those who disagreed with Barron's father or his political stance, found themselves applauding his behavior. Barron's ability to stand tall in the face of criticism and remain calm in the heat of the moment transcended political affiliations and offered a glimmer of hope for a world that often seems dominated by division and hostility. Let's keep the conversation going. Subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts below. Your perspective is valuable and might inspire others.